Simon is in Canada. Hi, Simon. Welcome to the EntreLeadership podcast. How can I help?
It is. I am the co-owner of a portable building manufacturing company. We build garden sheds, garages, cabins.
Cool.
We did $2.75 million in sales last year, and we have a total team of 9. That includes my brother and I, who own the place.
Mm-hmm.
My question is this: how do we compensate our leaders? So I am starting to actively handing over responsibilities of what I used to do, being an operations manager, to one of our good guys. And I've given it a lot of thought. How do I pay him? Because he has so many things to do. We're a small business, so he has to wear many hats. I want him to feel like an owner. He used to run his own show. He understands that he can go out into the real world and make good money. I'm trying to incentivize him to do the right things, but do it as efficiently as possible. Do we just pay him salary? Do we pay him off the bottom line? How do we do this?
How many units are you developing a year? How many buildings do you build a year?
So we actually manufacture them in a shop, and so last year we did 330 buildings that we built in our manufacturing shop and delivered them on the back of a semi-truck and trailer.
Wonderful. Good for you. Well done. Well done. All right. So this is one way of looking at it is this guy's helping you run a factory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're actively working in the business still when you hand off some of your old operational responsibilities?
Correct. The idea is to make myself replaceable, and then I can go and fry larger fish.
Like what?
Well, like developing a new product line that, in terms of tiny houses, that could potentially sell across Canada and the United States, things like that.
Okay. And testing the tiny house market is a full-time job for you?
No, but there's other things. So the other things, obviously I have multiple hats as well, which include backup sales when my brother is out doing dealer relations and setting up new dealers. And then if my operations manager is out, then I back up for him, etc.
I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's 3 of you leading and 6 of them helping to build the buildings.
Correct. That's it.
And or doing administrative work in the office or whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what was your net profit on your 275?
So our year end is middle of June, but we are running profit margins of closer to the 12 to 15%.
Okay, so $300,000 after you and your brother were paid, or that's all you made?
That's after everyone got paid. We are employees of the company.
Right, and what do you two get paid?
We take home $30 an hour, no overtime.
What's that equate to annually?
$60,000.
Okay.
A piece.
All right, and the other guy's being paid what salary currently?
Well, he is getting paid the same amount. But he is due for a back pay till at least the beginning of January, and we've had conversations around what that should look like, and I have not reached a conclusion.
I'm sorry, he gets $60,000 plus you're going to try to figure out some way to bonus him.
Correct, and I suspect that should be looking closer to the 80 mark, but I'm not certain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, it could be just as simple as you say, we're going to start sharing profits with you. And right now, based on our current rate of profitability and production, it looks like it's going to be another $20,000 or $25,000 a year, about $2,000 a month, in addition to your $60,000. And if you just said that and you don't actually have a formula, and then you just go about that and you take $25,000 out of your $300,000, I think you came out way ahead.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get really down in the weeds, but it's a bit much for one guy to do this. You can open up the books and show him what you're making and say, we're going to give you 10% of our net profits in addition to your 60. which would be 30 grand as an example, okay? Or we're going to give you
Got it.
or we're going to give you 8% of our net profits, and your job is to hold expenses down and profits up and sales up. You got to get volume up and profit and expenses down, including cost of goods sold, including labor, including everything in the company. Your job is to run the business well, like my brother and I run it well. You're just now there to help us, and we're going to share. And I honestly, in your case, I'd probably just be generous. I'd probably say 10%, and that's probably $30,000. And you could go back and say, in January we made this much profit, because you should close your books once a month, right?
Correct. That's what we do.
And you could pay out the 15th of the month following January. So February 15th, you would have paid January's profits. March 15th, you would have paid February's profits. So you're due both of those. April 15th, you would pay, and so on, right? March's profits. And that's what we do. We have our operating board. There are 14 operating board members that run this company with me, and they're all in the seat profit-wise of a partner, in that they get paid off the bottom line of the whole company. And their job is to do not only their day job, but also help us run the whole company in such a way that the profits are increased, because they don't get anything. They don't have any base.
Got it.
All they get is bottom line. But their income's a lot different than what we're talking about, much higher than that. But the but that's how it started. Now, I will tell you this. Let's say that you went with that plan and said, okay, we're going to open up the books, let you see the books, and you're going to help us manage expenses and keep them down and raise. That means you really trust this guy, because he's going to know your numbers. And that can be used against you later in all kinds of ways, if he decided to go be a competitor or work for a competitor or anything like that. So you got to really love this guy to do that. This guy's, you're almost making him a partner. He doesn't have any ownership, but he's got information that only the owners have. Fairly sensitive information. I would have him sign NDAs and on all of the internal and all the information that he's getting if you're going to do that. We do. Everybody here signs that. So I like that model. Then the other downside to it, other than you're exposing everything in the company to him, is if the thing explodes, you need to tell him up front, we might not always be at 10%. So let me give you an example. The volume goes up a few years from now, 10x of what it is now. You're doing $30 million a year. Well, this guy is no longer doing 1/10 or 1/9 of the work. At that point, there's going to be 7 of him. And so he may not be at 10%. We'll always be generous with you, and we'll always give you a fair share of the profits, but the percentage may change as the situations change. But for the foreseeable future, 10% sounds really good. Or whatever number you come up with. I'm just using that as an example. I like round numbers that everybody can keep up with. So, yeah, I think that'll work for you. But always give yourself an exit, because otherwise your integrity's in question, and you go, yeah, well, back when he promised me 10%, but now that he's a big dog and making $27 million gross, now he cut me out. And that's the kind of people old Simon is. That's the kind of crap you'll hear if you don't give yourself an out, because it sounds like you violated your integrity. Instead, you go, look, and put it in writing in his comp agreement. We're going to pay you 10%, and when we get ready to change that, we'll give you some notice, and we'll let you know what the different number is. But 100% count on that number changing. 100% count on it changing. Absolutely. My operating board percentage that each one of them get has changed every 2 years for the last 15 years. We've changed the percentage that each person gets. And we've discussed it with them. They've been involved in the decision. They're looking at the numbers with us. They see the reasonableness of our judgment. And it's, we're adding more operating board members or we're not. We got profit is up or profit is down. We're looking at all these variables, and then in the middle of all of that, we decide. So that's a good way to do it, because basically you're making him a partner without making him a partner. It is a bit of an accounting lift for a company your size, but you ought to be closing your books once a month anyway. So you might as well use those actual numbers to get you where you need to go.